tradition, but he has authoritatively he is endowed with the wisdom to explain more on native laws and customs as they reflect on the Christmas village. Oku, you're welcome to our show.
Thank you so much.
Nice to have you after a long while. Where have you been?
Well, I've been around doing one or two, attending to traditional matters.
Yeah, attending to traditional matters.
Yeah.
Yes, and such as what traditional matters as it affects the society.
As it affects the society as well as the individual.
Individuals themselves. Yes, Oko said is one guest that we'll be having consistently for over 2 months. Yes, because of the festivities that end the year. And those that actually get the year started. And so we'll be discussing issues that has to do with festivities, issues that has to do with rituals, issues that has to do with the tradition, native law and custom. So what do you say the real significance, the importance of traditional displays at the Christmas village in Uyo at the moment?
It is a wonderful thing, and I personally commend the governor for initiating such idea, because a people without the culture are already dead, right? And it is at this point where we have such encouragement that we can even try to revive some of which we have allowed to die, so that we can pick up our lives again. Culture is everything, it's just that when we define or when we talk about culture, we just look at it as a people with a unique style of display or unique style of doing things, but it is beyond that. Okay, so I think it's a wonderful thing going on.
Yes, you appreciate the cultural displays and all that.
Yes.
Now, there are instances where some group of people don't really appreciate. Like in one local government area, they said they have banned Ekpo masquerade, they have banned some traditional displays and all of that. In such societies, do you think they are not taking culture and native laws and culture very seriously? Or it's not of importance to them?
That question is very deep in a sense that such a people are already dead, if you ask me. Let me tell you the truth about culture. When you define culture in a real sense, then you understand. Let's come from the angle of agriculture. Agriculture, when you pronounce the word, it simply means to create a culture of different crops and animals, so that you allow those crops and animal to exist. For instance, let's take the fish. What is the culture of a fish? The culture of a fish is that it stays in the water and feed within the water, microbites and all of that. What is the culture of the hen? What is the culture of the goat? What is the culture of, So you find out that every animal has a unique culture that if you don't meet to the terms and condition of the culture, the animal dies. The same thing goes on with the crops, cassava, maize, rice, everything. If you don't meet up with the culture of a particular species, that thing dies. So when we talk about culture, when it comes to the man, it is actually about the same thing, providing the same enabling environment that it allows that organism or that man to live. Now, I have also said that we have what we call ethnicities. We have the Igbo ethnicity, we have the Yorubas, we have the Hausas, we have the Ibibios. The Ibibio are a unique ethnic people. Now, what differentiates Ibibio from others are the culture. Why? Because we have a unique spirituality, we have a unique way of food and different things. Once these things are missing, we are gone, because by nature, anything outside its culture is dead. So you don't also look at culture in terms of the display of beautiful attires and crafts and all of that. Culture begins in the spirituality of the people. The spirituality. When I mean the spirituality, it means to balance both the unseen and the seen together. So when you hear a community who stands up and says we are eradicating Ekpo, such a community does not understand the essence of their culture. It's like a fish trying to breathe on the soil.
You see, what if the usefulness or the essence of the masquerade or that display has been,
It can never, it can never be eradicated. Look at what happens. We are claiming to be civilized. We do not know that we are killing ourselves, right? The true security system of the Ibibio culture is Ekbo. Because the sincerity of every man can only be determined by spirit. It is Ekbo that a thief will stand before and say, I stole or I didn't steal. And when he lies, the spirit knows. Is it the court system? You take a thief to the court and he goes scot-free. Or if he gets a good lawyer. But you stand before the Ekbo that is authentic. You can't lie. So the only security system that will work, preserve and ensure discipline and honesty in our society is Ekbo, if taken as it used to be. Because of course, just as we are claiming civilization, we have watered down the essence, the ndu of Ekbo.
Okay, now can culture be imported? That is, a group of people admire what is happening elsewhere. I say, okay, let me import it and see if we can get it started.
Very well. For instance, we are living an imported culture here in Nigeria and in Africa. For instance, Islam is imported, Christianity is imported, Hinduism is imported, right? The whole thing we do around us, the ShopRite, all of that, those are imported cultures. They are not us. The eating, even we import culture down to medicine and food, the spaghetti, the indomie, and all of that.
What's the effect of this?
It is not part of your culture, so you are going. Of course, it's going to affect you. When last did you hear someone die at the age of 202 plus? And you think because of what? Perhaps you'd say they are not. No, it's gradual. The things we eat, the spirituality we neglect, the clothing we wear. Are you even aware that clothes are killing us when we wear things like the petroleum gel plastics? Are you aware there are so many other garments in the market that are weapons, even down to our pots? The pots are now sedated with chemicals. You see them, they call them imported pots, spoon, plates, kettles. And we are taking these things, we are killing ourselves. Whereas our culture demanded we eat and drink from the clay pot that alkalines the food. Are you getting me? So every day we are gathering the culture of others. For instance, you and I are under AC. Are you aware that under our culture it is heat that keeps us alive, that AC kills us?
So am I dying?
Yes, everybody under AC is gradually killing themselves.
All announcers are dying instrumentally.
Ooh, if you are cooking yourself up in AC, you are gradually killing yourself. Check what happens when you put a meat in the freezer. When you take it out, what happens? It turns white. Check your skin when you are out of the AC after having stayed for a very long time.
I love the job of broadcaster. Maybe I will have to invite you to be one so that we die together.
I'm a very traditional man. If you see me like this, it's because you called me out. So I'll try to blend in. But in my normal state, you know, I am always as free as possible, barefooted, empty body. I eat natural as possible as I want to. I want to prove to people that the reason that we are dying young today is not because we are missing anything, it's that we have stepped out of our culture.
Now, what and what ways? Which ways and what ways can we go back to the basics?
It starts by, like you have done well, and I kudos to you. You have given us an opportunity to talk, right? Education is key in this thing. We need to start by telling people that we are making wrong decisions. The reason we are dying is because our medication is bad. Our food is bad. When they tell you something is going through processing, they are taking the elements that your culture needs away. That's what is called processing, right? Your garments, what you wear is bad, right? On and on and on, and then we come down to the key. The spirituality to which you profess is not your spirituality. Our culture gives us a spirituality where we move between the living and the dead. Hence, that is who we are. If you don't have these things in place, you are out of your culture, and anything out of its culture will die. So that explains the untimely death everywhere. People are dying.
Okay. Yes, if you are just on to Memories 96.5 FM, the program is Sunday special show. It's the journalist drive time tonic on your station, and we found time to accommodate native laws and customs as it affects us. Currently, at the Christmas village, a lot of cultural displays are ongoing. I found some that are lying down. Much later, they will come up, and there are some magical, displays that tells the people off the feet. And others they call it Kumitong, and there are a lot of displays that honestly they are quite frightening, but they have their significance, they have their relevance in the society. Now, what do you think, or let me now go to the government. How do we sustain our culture? Has the government done enough, or are the individuals the ones to hold responsible for the eroding cultural displays?
Okay, first of all, I started by thanking our current governor, Governor Moino, for giving us this privilege. Why so? Is because he is daring to give us that ambience. Why? Tradition and culture is not the work of the government. It is not. So for him as a governor, even though a pastor still feels that a space should be given for us to express our culture and tradition, I love him for that. Right? Yes. So we cannot at this point begin to say, is our government doing enough? Is our government? No. It is not the work of the government. It is the work of the people. It is the work of the communities. It is the work of our traditional rulers, paramount rulers, village heads, to create a sensitization programs, from home to home, village, local government, clans. Then the whole of Akwa Ibom State will be awakened to the need that we need to go back to our culture if we must live.
Okay, there are other cultures that have been extinct that are not, in practice at the moment. And the youth of today are, quite. They are not aware of those cultures. How do we really get the youth to get back to our cultures? Yeah, because they prefer the Western culture.
It is education. You don't.
Who has to do that? Whose duty it is?
The village heads, like I said, the paramount rulers, the clan heads.
There is a ministry of culture and tradition, I think.
Culture and tourism.
Tourism, I think.
Yes.
Then, what do you think the ministry should do to really get the people involved in our cultural beliefs and practices?
The ministry should ensure that what the governor has started continues. And this time, I really had a little issues when it was said that the power part of the culture should not be displayed. And I'm wondering why. Because every single day we live by the manifestation of powers. For instance, you and I are sitting down here talking, and millions of people are listening to us. That's a display of power. It's a display of power. I pick up my phone and I call you and you pick. We have never really sat down to say, how does a word travel from one phone to the other? We just leave it there and accept it as norm. Do you know why it is accepted as norm? Is because over time we are used to it. Everything about our spirituality will be accepted as norm if only we insist and persist on it. Because look around you, look around life, everything is about power. How does a metal suddenly come together and start moving you and you call it a car? How does a computer in front of you there transmit information to you? They are all about power. You call it science, but in Africa we call it spirituality. Spirituality simply means things you don't see how they work with your physical eye. A is spiritual, but you feel it. So we must open the doors for us to embrace our culture, both the physical and the spiritual form of the culture.
All right, John Oko is sending inviting you to open up your phones and call 0803 085 7755 and ask questions that has to do with your culture and tradition. Yes, because there are some people that are novice that don't really know how to be involved in all of this. And if we're talking about culture and traditions, of course, the high bride price, which of course I don't know if it is customary, and there are some occultic practices at the end of the year, effect of ancestral curses, covenant significance of traditional marriages, and the consequences and all of that. We tend to, forget all of this, especially on the marriage side. We feel it has nothing to do. Once the wedding is done, it's all over. Now, let's see. Now, there are some people that feel, okay, there's a question here for you. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, you're welcome, my brother. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Nyamudo. I'm calling from the Oregon local government.
From Nyamudo, you're welcome.
Please, I've heard what
My guest.
the guest in the studio is saying about culture and all this masquerade and the rest. In my local government in Oregon, we have what we call Expo, which used to be very hot. The Paramount ruler stopped it. Why? The Paramount ruler said, yes, the youth now are not saying the way it used to be.
By the rules.
That they have adulterated it.
Okay.
They go to church and pick somebody who runs into the church. They go with dagger, with phone, with knives, cut people plantain, with these hard times, kill people good, kill chicken good, eat. That the youth are no longer playing the thing the way it used to be and ban it. So when culture becomes nonsense, when they try to kill culture in such a way, the youth themselves try to make culture not to be the way it used to be, has to be stopped. Because this hard time, you cannot go to somebody's farm with a gun something, to go and uproot somebody's yeah.
Yes, thank you, go gang, thank you, gang, I don't get one.
No, get down, boss, mommy. You will say, I will come, I got
Yeah. You don't like it, all right. Yes, young man.
Is that still a culture? Go down this marriage, I'm about to get a woman, and you listen to
Okay.
Those are not culture, they don't civilize.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay,
I should answer him.
Yes,
okay, first of all, I'm sure that's a father speaking, right? When a child misbehaves in the house, do you eradicate the child or you educate the child? That's first thing he needs to answer. Now, take for example, a man is on life support with oxygen, and then there are particles of dust traveling through the track to the person's lungs. Do we unplug the oxygen and say the man should stay without the oxygen, or we clean up the track? Simple analogy. It is easy to stand up and say let's stop than to say let us purify. How did it get there in the first place? It is negligence. They are suffering the repercussion of their negligence. As at what point were they allowing Ofon to take over the Mberekbu? As at what point did they stop to make sure that the traditional right of that is transferred immediately from one generation to another? From one Ewondutom to the next person. They just play it. Oh, they're moving. And this is why that thing is happening. The consciousness of Ekpo is an embodiment of the Ibibio spirits. It does not like impurity. Most of these people, they have been stealing, and all sort of things. You step into the sanctuary of the holies of holies, and it will put you in problem.
Let's
so let them purify it.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, this Monday,
okay, Monday, you're welcome.
Yeah. Culture. Along go. Abo game so all the am I ready to go?
Am I adulterate?
Yeah. I mean, making the game tradition. Taking the name of the
Yes.
I get on my go to the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I get over area. Even the tradition I can go. I mean, they go back. The first thing I have to do. Yeah, I might take food in the book. I got a man I get in the song. I went to eat and go over with them going on for it. And I go again, wait a moment. Because that's going to be on thing. There's nobody on the stage. I don't know no dinner. I never hear it. I get be able. I get your no.
Perfect.
So that's all. Tradition, generally. I don't forget the name of the
Very well. Very well. Mm-hmm. If you tanga bani ko mamani. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So, Oku, you've heard him.
Yes.
It's us to. Okay. I think you have another call. Hello. Good evening. Yes, my brother. You're welcome.
Thank you for having me. I read back my ear.
Oh, all right. Oku.
My people, I want to say that culture is something that we cannot do without.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes, I think my brother has talked about important culture like Christianity, religion, mentioned
Food, dress code, dressing, and all that.
Islamic religion. So I want to say that in Christianity, my brother, I'm someone that has studied certain things about Christianity. I've seen certain enlightenment that can eradicate certain cultures. Because some cultures are not good, like the one that my brother talked about, bearing life human beings with a corpse.
Yeah.
It's not right. There are even some of these, I would not even say some, these masquerades of the thing, they go there with a certain innovation, certain spirituality that is against Christian teaching. So those things can be ruled out, because if you are a Christian, you should know that in Christianity, God does not share any other God with himself. If you do any other thing, if you do any incantation, call anything on earth, that is idolatry. So, no Christian will support a kind of culture like masquerade of the thing. So, we should know that if anything is barbaric, Christianity does not just condemn all cultures. If you have the one like respecting your parents,
Is that a culture?
One another.
Is that a culture?
That's
not steal.
morality.
That's not culture. That's morality.
That one can continue. But anyone that will affect the peace of
Should be revisited.
My brother, you have destroyed culture with a small knife.
Okay.
You just want to be safe.
Thank you very
much. The truth about
it's getting
it
more
is
interesting. Oku, you got another call here, and people want to know your views on the native cultures and traditions in Akwa. Hello, good evening. Nice to have you. Okay, you're welcome. Okay.
See, let me tell you something. You see, all of these things we say, we are just generalizing our talk. First of all, I will say that you don't not meditating. Ask that person. Meditating for I don't repeat stories. It takes no evidence or cite a practical example. So you see, we sat there and stories were fed us, and we replicate these stories over time, and it becomes a norm. I come from the Christian background as a trained pastor under Church of God Mission. I know the lies I used to say. I find out they are lies because I heard them and I internalized them and started pushing. But as I moved into tradition and I began to do my research, I discovered that these were concocted lies designed and given to us by the whites. Now, let me give you another example. I don't know which example I can use now. There are a lot of stories basically that were not true. Okay, for instance, they say they came to teach us how to read and write. Is that the truth? Do you know the CBD is the oldest writing system in the world? How did you come to teach us and write? You only came to teach us how to write your language so that we keep everything open and plain for you. So for instance, when I write Isong in your English pattern, ISONG, you can pronounce it song, and then my brother will interpret it for you what it means, and you know. A white man didn't teach us how to read and write. As a matter of fact, how can a man who never knew how to take his bath talk about civilizing a man who invented the bath system? So we, our sons and daughters, are there replicating the same lies told to us over time. They say that we used to kill ourselves and all of that. We used to sell ourselves in slaves. They are all lies. I'm telling you, even what our museums are keeping today, they are all lies. Any man who sold his son for slavery was conditioned by the same white man who wanted the son. And when that happened, they replicated the story out. They said we used to kill twins. Lie. We have twins that are well over 120 years alive. Why didn't they kill them? They created the dark era. They used it to blackmail us. And then here we are. They can't come out to tell us the truth, but we are battling among ourselves, which is the truth and which is not the truth. It is high time we wake up, or we woke up and begin to ask the necessary question. Any village that has gotten anything wrong, it is not to ban, it is to fix it, because you can't do without it. Check villages that are not spiritually standing. You find nyaka. They say Kambonirong. In Jesus' name, let's pray. In a Mambonirong meeting, you are praying in a Senebasi in a village that is traditionally. You are destroying your children. You are destroying them. They will come out useless. And that is the repercussion of what you are seeing, like they mentioned Ibiono. They no longer respect their fathers, no longer respect their mothers, no longer respect the landmarks. You say Christianity, is it not the same Christianity that say we shouldn't shift the Asian landmarks? Are people not shifting it? Did he say Asian landmarks that Jesus laid or the ones your fathers laid? Are we not shifting the landmarks that our fathers laid? No. Are they not destroying Akai? Are they not destroying Stream? Are they not destroying Asian traditional grounds? But is it not in the same Bible? You claim you are a good Christian, so why don't you obey that?
And also, somebody that called in said that our leaders, some of the custodians of our tradition, don't live or reside in these areas. They prefer to travel out, and that way they can come to control, what's happening around the villages.
Those are you getting me? If you as a village decide to give anybody a king and then a get back a city, the repercussion comes on you. Everything that happens comes to you. There are 2 important people or 3 important people in a village. The most important is not Obeongirong. It is Obeong Lutom. It is Obeong Lutom that makes the Obeongirong in line with the Obeong Ekpo. After the Obeong Lutom, the most important person is Obeong Ekpo. They join hand with Obeong Lutom and make the Obeongirong. Obeongirong can even be orphan. An orphan is not a slave. Contrary to what our people think, orphan is an expert. It is when slavery came, because we use descriptive terminologies. For instance, we see bicycle. Why? Because the iron does what a cow used to do. Are we together? We use descriptive. So orphan is not a slave. Orphan is an expert. Orphanship is the only way we used to equalize skills that were lacking in different areas within the Ibibio land.
Oko, you have a friend here. Hello.
Hello?
Yes. You're welcome, sir. What's your name, please, and where are you calling us from? Okay. I could do that.
Hello?
Yes, don't go to that.
Bong radio is close to
Most of the people and go die for mine and people say that song. All right. Yes.
Akbaniko.
Thank you very much for song. Yes, Afrewo culture and tradition. Abamenyen, Adonyen, Nido culture, culture Idonyen. And now, Impossible ke mikwa women bono wonyen biosipi na kick be culture men biosiro biosipi kapa se ke se yena ke se na mesi non to yen mum ni to mara famfan ina ki na manyoba abantu wa mo mai sa na ya ka yang kwangwe and at the same time ngoma ya kwanga na ka yaro.
Say one part of our culture that has been destroyed, and that is the culture of making sure that the fourth generation see themselves. That is we have destroyed it. And how was that possible? We make sure that the young girls get married on time, the young guys get married on time, and they give birth. That hence, yes, hence that knowledge is transferred. So in that process, nothing is ever lost in the lineage. But today, I can name my beard some of these things. So when you talk about the cough, because for example, there are a lot of ndotom I don't even know how to start writing it in a book. But if my son were to be mature enough, are we together? So my son too will over time take over ami monda nsong se ke nyena midwe gende nteru ente song ra ke medwe meanwhile aminko ete meso say ete meso say. By so doing, no knowledge is lost. You see that aspect of our culture? It is what has brought us to where we are now. No, that was a very beautiful educational system. Where my brain young, you see the children sitting under the great-grandmother or great-great-grandmother, a dog monkey. Today, do we even do born the young? It's just we in our faith that we try to play, we play it every December. But Mbrefion was not just a timbre, because the best way to learn is when it is under playful environment. We have lost it. Yes.
Environment. Okay. Yes. It's 12 minutes to 6. I wouldn't want Oku Esen to go, and certainly I hope he's been with us now for about 40 minutes. Honestly, I hope you'll be here again next week.
There is no problem.
Yes, because the issues I wish we discussed that has to do with our custom, tradition, and honestly, so much to talk about. Well, let me take this call. I know Akwadomas are interested in this. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, you're welcome. Please, what's your name? Hey, we lost that friend. Please do well to call in. Yes, there are other strange cultures that we see now. Now we have high bride prices. A lot of families that want a generator. They want the husband to be that's the son-in-law to bring in generator, to build houses, to buy train, to buy up and down. You know, these things were not in our traditional list initially, but now it's adulterated.
Those are borrowed culture as a result of greed.
Yes, and now we see differences between native law and custom, traditional medicine, where are there, and who should practice what. A lot of them, significance of traditional marriages and where you don't perform traditional marriages, the consequences, and how necessary is it to us. And some inhuman occultic end of year rituals. They say they need somebody, they need some sacrifices, they need blood, they need all of this.
When they say blood of what?
I wouldn't know. I don't want to.
So we have to be specific in some of our terminologies, because even in the Bible, blood were very essential. Bloods of bull, ram were always being shed every year. There is no neutralizer in the world. I repeat, there is no neutralizer in the world other than blood.
Okay.
It is blood that cleanses. Coming from the Bible perspective or any spiritual background, it is the blood that cleanses. And let me tell you, all religion in the world is copying from the African spiritual pantheon. Blood is what neutralizes. Blood is what atones. So here I know that we use that of ram. He use unen. He turns enunen. But anybody coming to tell you and all of that, it should be well investigated, because we cannot use a one-time event to generalize. There is an example like Afare Tokyo where I stay, and I heard the story of where the Ogbonge had made a decree that nobody should come out, but anybody who comes out, that person will be used as nsei to the Ndotom. Unfortunately for him, by mistake, the daughter was seen outside, and before he arrived, the daughter has been used as nsei because it was his verdict. So does that become a general custom across the Ibibio land? No, it is not. We cannot use a temporal event to analyze a general event, or we are being unfair to ourselves.
All right, Oku, thank you very much. Let's keep it there. Next week, we shall take up other traditional beliefs and cultures in Akwa Ibom State that need attention, so that we can use this platform to, address the minds of our children, of our youths also, so that they will really know the way forward as it concerns native laws and customs. So, your parting shot, Oku, what are your advice to those celebrating the Christmas village and the wanton display of traditional displays there?
Just as a fish cannot stay outside the water, so is you. You can't live outside your culture. Your culture is your essence. Your culture is your life. Your culture is your everything. If you step out of it, there is
Adurukani's song. All right, thank you very much. Oku Esen is a guest on our show. Next week, I'd like to bring him on again to talk culture, tradition as the way forward.